Good morning, afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I just woke up and got ready to go do some Pilates. I'm now like really half asleep still, a little bit hungover. Uh, we're doing the Rangers today, the Rags. I didn't do it yesterday. I was supposed to do it yesterday, but I was dusting off my porn, and that went well into the night. So wasn't able to get to it. And with that, I've had other things to do. I haven't even thought about this like one iota. So this should be fun. The Rangers, as I mentioned to you yesterday when I said I was going to do the Rangers, I'm looking really bad here because I picked them to not make the playoffs this year. My thinking was that the defense was brutal, except for Shea, and I like the pickup of Holden, but Girardi and Stahl, their possession numbers have been just going down and down and down. They're getting old and slow, but they've got Lundqvist. I mean, the guy is insane. I've watched 2 Rangers games this year, and for other Rangers fans out there, correct me if I'm wrong, but they spend a whole lot of time in their own end. And he takes a lot of shots and a lot of really good opportunities. He's looking as good as he's ever looked. It's amazing how good of a goaltender he is. And that's not all they have. They have really good offensive depth. I honestly didn't think that these guys that they brought in were going to pan out quite as well as I don't think anybody did. Who thought Grabner would have 12 goals? Although Grabner does this from time to time. He goes on these streaks, and then at the end of the year he'll have 21 goals. He'll score like 12 goals in 16 games, and then he'll only score like 8 goals in the next 60. So they take that with a grain of salt, really. However, he made other nice moves. Like Brandon Peary is a nice little piece that Sather picked up. He can play on they usually play him on the 4th line because he can't play D worth of shit. But he can score goals on the power play, and he can add some offense from your 4th line. And he does that very, very well. He actually does it excellent. And he's doing it for the Rangers. Of course, there's VC, who I don't think anybody anticipated he would come off this fast. I mean, he's playing really well. Now, he's never played over, 40 or 50 games, whatever they play in college before. So more often than not, these college players tend to fall off at the end of the year. Even Eichel did when he played his first year. And there's a very good chance he will as well. So my thinking that the Rangers would miss the playoffs might not be totally off, but I think they'll make it now. Glen Sather has been my love-hate relationship for a long time. He's been given everything to work with, and he's made some really, really bad salary moves as far as like Redden and Holik, and those were mostly later. He seems to have kind of learned his lesson since then, but he made some really bad moves. But he also seems to be able to bring in talent all the time. Now, because he's in New York, he's got a lot of advantages. Young guys want to play in New York. He treats his people very, very well. He's well known for that. When he was an Oiler, he treated his players exceptionally well, and they played hard for him. Plus, he's in New York, so he's got money, all the money in the world. I mean, they can throw people in the minors like they did with Redden. What was Redden making? Like $7 million a year or something like that? I don't think it was that high, but it was ridiculous, and they had him playing in the minors so they could circumvent the cap. And they can take all the options that they do, and he uses it to his advantage. That's why I have a love-hate relationship with him. I don't think he's the best general manager in the world, but he does does make a lot of nice moves too. He makes, bringing in VC was an excellent move, but everybody was wanting to do that. Bringing in Grabner was a very good move. He seems to be able to put in pieces that work, around his core, and he makes moves that are relatively bold. When he picked up Nash, most people thought, well, he's a good player, but he gave up quite a bit for him. But it worked out really well for him. He seems to get the best out of, I don't know if it's him or his staff or whatever. young players get in there, they tend to do well. Hayes, for instance, this year has made a huge jump. And you can thank your general manager and your staff for that, because part of their job is to make sure these guys are staying in shape, getting big, being strong. And Hayes made a big move that direction. I think even not just that he became strong, but the willingness to do the things he needed to get there, I'm not sure was totally there when he got there in the first place. And they convinced him to go that direction. So good for them. Now it looks like they're definitely going to make the playoffs. It looks like they might have the deepest forward depth there are, with Zuccarello, Stepan, Nash, VC, JT, Grabner, Faust. Very, very good depth on forward, and excellent. I still don't think they're going to do as well in the playoffs. But at least now I do believe they're going to go there. And the people and the team that's going to they're going to replace from my list of teams that are going to make the playoffs looks like Detroit, which is really sad because I really wanted Detroit to make it this year. There was more that I wanted. JT Miller was his name, by the way. Nah, my brain is really working decent today. I should try sleeping more often. Sleeping seems to have a pretty decent effect on my brain. It's just the same effect sort of as rum, except I actually remember things. Vangio. I wanted to talk about Vangio. Of course, I always talk about coaches, right? Here's a guy who did extremely well in Vancouver. They gave him a bad team, and surprise, surprise, the team didn't do well. And they ended up basically trading Vangio for Tortorella, which probably wasn't a good pick for Vancouver for the Sedins and the culture that they have in that room. I know they were trying to change it, but that might have been too much to ask. And with Tortorella, you have to give him at least 2 to 3 years before you see a change like that. But he comes in and there's no dip at all. He just seems to get the best out of his players as well. Again, it is hard to judge with Vangio because he's had extremely good goaltenders. He had Luongo in Vancouver, and who I think is like top 5 in the league, and Lundqvist on the Rangers, which if as a coach, I mean, that's your dream to have those two goaltenders be on your team. The only problem is you with those two goaltenders, you're likely not going to be winning any Coach of the Years, because they're going to get most of the accolades. But honestly, I think he's done well there. Nobody talks about Vangio's system, but Vangio's system is actually really progressive. Their defense has poor possession stats, but he plays and he uses his forwards deep to come down deep, and they play like a wide game. There's a lot of skating, but they do it in a way that's almost like a man-on-man, and it's an area type defense, and it works. It works really, really well, and the players seem to respond to it really, really well. It creates really good offense, as you can tell this year. They're scoring a lot of goals, and it makes up for the fact that their defense is really not good at possession. It's they're not really good with the puck, so. He's done well to adapt to what's given him, not only here, but when he was in Vancouver as well. He got the best out of that team too. So, excellent. That's about as much as I can say with the Rangers, except that, I don't know, my heart's never with the Rangers. I don't know why. I think it's just they have too many advantages. Sorry, Rangers fans. I'm kind of an underdog guy, and I always want to see those big corporate company teams and companies get their ass kicked. And I have a tendency to be like that with the Rangers too. Don't hate me. I don't hate you. I just don't like your team. That's my full 42. Okay. Have a great day. Bye.